Which is all yours. Within Bhai is all yours.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sanalji. Thank you, Prakash Bhai, for such a wonderful session. Radhe Radhe. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita session. Radhe Radhe, Nitinji, over to you. Let me make you co-host, please. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So thank you, Prakash Ji, for a wonderful session, Sunbhai. And Radhe Radhe. Good morning, good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. Hope you're having a great start to your day. Had a wonderful day. So today we will conclude our Shloka 5.18. And then, of course, we have a spiritual cash-up segment coming up later today. So let's get started. We do these sessions every day for anybody who might be new, and we really go deep into every Bhagavad Gita verse, including practical tools and just a lot of in-depth discussion with cross references and stuff. So let me share my screen. We'll get started with our opening prayers by invoking the blessings of God and Guru, like we always do. So, Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurudevo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Radhe Radhe. Again, a very warm welcome to all of you. So let's get started. So today is Narsing Jayanti. Okay, let me get to that first, and then we'll come back to the shloka. So Lord Narsing Avatar had taken avatar today's day. So let's see some of the lessons from this avatar. One, the first and foremost, of course, is we've been talking about the Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan, right? So if you look at it, God was able to manifest. Where? Out of thin air? Yeah, kind of, from a pillar itself. That means the theory that we have been talking about, that God has permeated every atom of this universe. And he can manifest when he chooses to. So he can manifest from anywhere. And he did take an avatar, Narsingh avatar, which was an express avatar. We spoke about different kind of avatars also. So it's not like Narsingh avatar was an avatar like Krishna avatar or Lord Ram avatar, which was there for a certain avatar kal. It came in, served the purpose, and then went back. The second is, now if God can manifest in this kind of a ferocious form, which even devatas, it sent shivers down their spine when they saw this. Of course, he can take on a beautiful form as well, right? Or we say, no, you can only look like this, ferocious, no. And his enchanting, most sweet form is Krishna avatar, like we spoke about yesterday, right? So this also tells that God can assume a form when he chooses to. Another learning from this is, like, for his devotees, he takes care of them. Right? In case of Bhakta Prahlad, his faith carried him through, even though he was subjected to so many things. But God saved him because he had complete faith in God. Other thing is that other learning from this is that when we think a person who's born in a saint family of saint will be saintly, or in a family of demon will be a demoniac, not necessarily, right? You saw the Prahlad was born in this family, and on the contrary, Krishna, when he left, his sons, they were not saintly or anything, right? We know how they fought and then completed, basically their whole clan was decimated. They fought amongst themselves. So that can happen as well. Another learning from this avatar is that you cannot really have a hack, for with regards, you cannot play too smart with God. God always finds a hack to no matter what you ask for. Because Hiranyakashyap in this case had asked for, I should not be killed during daytime or during nighttime. I should not be killed by a weapon, any weapon. I should not be killed by, inside the house or outside the house. I should not be killed on earth or on the sky. All those things he asked for, and he think he's got a perfect hack, now nothing can happen. And then Narsingh Avatar manifested, I should not be killed by a human or an animal. Now he came as a human plus animal, then he killed him on his thigh. He did not use any weapon, he used his nails. It was neither inside nor outside because it was at the cusp of the door itself. It was a dusk time, neither day, night. So God, you cannot be too smart with God. So no matter what you ask Brahmaji, God can always find a way out. Anyways, other key learning or benefit a devotee can derive from it is, of course, you cannot, it inspires fear and awe and reverence for this avatar. But if you are fearful of something, I think this is one of the artis for nursing. You can do that. It will gradually take the fear away. Okay. There will be a lot of stories where people have been fearful of certain things happening around. And if you do this arti, I think this arti is carried out in a lot of temples as well. It's a good one to conquer or vanquish fear from your heart. So happy Nursing Jayanti to all of you. Now let's get to the shloka of our discussion. Like I said, today we are going to do the concluding discussion on this shloka. So I'm going to recite it and we'll pick up 3 hands. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shwapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha. Okay. All right. So let's take 3 hands and then we'll get started.
Yeah. Radhe Radhe, Shyamji. First we'll prepare, first
We'll limit it to
we'll,
3 hands because we have a hard stop for the cash up, spiritual cash up segment as well. So
yes,
just take 3 hands today and preference
just,
to one who are on
Radhe
video.
Radhe.
yes.
Radhe Radhe.
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha. Radhe Radhe.
Nice. Thank you, Shyam bhai. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe. Thank you, Shyamji. Radhe Radhe, Aparna ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe everyone. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha. Thank
Very
you.
nice. Thank you, Pranaji. I see Mahesh, a new hand today. Let's have Mahesh. Please go ahead and then
Yes.
you can take one more video slide. Yeah. Please go ahead. Mahesh.
Mahesh ji, Radhe Radhe.
Yeah, hi, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chave Shivipake Cha Pandita Samdarshina.
Very nice. Thank you. Very nice. Thank you. Yes, Tejas, last one, and then we'll get started.
Yes, Tejas ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha.
Very nice. Thank you. So Riyaji, Chandruji, possibly tomorrow. Let's get started. We have a lot to cover today. By the way, I wanted to remind everybody that today is our picture day as well. So if you can turn on your videos or get ready, with your smile, wearing the smile on your face, we'll probably do it on or during or after spiritual cash up segment. So it could be a surprise. So please be ready today. And I see Laddu on the session as well. So you picked a good day. So nice. So let's get started. This shloka says, the truly learned with the eyes of divine knowledge see with equal vision a Brahmin, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. So we said that, okay, we have already covered that. That, when you look at this, a truly learned is where you have this chakshu or this vision, special vision, where you are looking at all of these at equal, a saint, a cow, dog, or a dog eater. Why? Because of the pervading divinity. You focus on that divinity aspect of it. And then we said, how do you get to that vision? That is where we had a pretty elaborate discussion. These are the, You get over the designations where the Swatattva, we understand who we truly are. We are soul and not the designations that we carry around because of our body. We spent a good amount of time on Paratattva, where we spoke about who is God one, many, and the three manifestations of God, the all-pervading aspect, Brahman, or the localized aspect, which is Paramatma, or the Bhagavan when he takes on an avatar. We spent about 4 or 5 sessions on that, right? Today we'll conclude this discussion by talking about the sadhya, the goal, and the sadhana, and of course, some of the virodhi vishya things that we need to guard against, vary or be cautious about. Okay, that's where, which are not conducive or supportive of our spiritual journey. That's where we'll spend a little bit of time as well. So moving on, okay, there's a progression, right? We'll talk about the goal. Now, to begin with, our goal, if you look at it, is family, money, house, and all that stuff. These are our life goals, which are entirely material. This is how we normally begin our life, or typically attribute success, as some of the yardsticks for our success of our life as well. Having a good home, good family, earning decent money, be able to support ourselves. So these are the material goals alone. Then what happens? Some kind of a spark comes in, and then you start turning towards God and prayer. Okay, the transition kind of a thing happen because of some event that happens in life, or some kind of spark that happens, and you latch on to that, and then you start adding spirituality into the mix. Start praying, you start turning towards God, you start attending JK Yoga online sessions, and then prayer finds its way, temple starts becoming part of your routine. You start contemplating that you are more than this body and stuff like that. So that journey starts. Or you may be reclaiming what you have already acquired in your previous life, and it could be any trigger in this life, right? That trigger could be anything, right? Krishna says that Chaturvida bhajante mam jigyasu arto arti jnani. So you might be it could be born out of curiosity. It could be born out of some lure for some kind of a material reward, that I should get married, I should have a kid, I should get a job, or whatever the case may be. It could be because you faced some kind of a reversal in material life. Okay, now this whole thing is moh maya, now I need better turn towards God. Could be anything. Or you could be a seeker. You are generally on the path of spirituality and you are building on what you have already acquired. Could be any trigger, right? So you start adding spirituality to the mix. And then what happens is, over time, you get more knowledge, then the proportion of the spiritual things, right? And you basically, first you talk about God as an abstract entity, and then you start understanding the deeper secrets around it as well, right? It's not just abstract, that the forms, the pastimes, those concepts start growing onto you as well, right? And material goals, they start you know tapering off, waning off gradually, and your spiritual focus keeps on increasing. That's how the journey starts unfolding. So there's a progression that happens. Let's talk about it from a spiritual perspective as well, right? So this is how the journey typically evolves. Now, I will explain and try to put it into perspective. It doesn't mean it has to be linear like this, because beyond a point, there'll be a forking point, and it could take any of those paths. It doesn't have to, first you have to do this and then this and this and this. Okay, that I will explain as we get to that. So this is how it starts. First, it is your goals are purely material. We are at the level of Karam Kand. So, as you all, most of you can relate to, I can relate to it as well. When we get on this path, our focus is mostly ritualistic. Why? For material boons. Right? God, we consider God as a cosmic bellboy. Who gives on demand? God gives on demand. So go ask for something. So your God is just a means and world is the end. And then you resort to that. Okay, I should pass, I should get good exams, this should happen, we put vrat so that we can get this and all that stuff, right? So we are focused on the karamkand aspect of it, ritualistic part of it, but our goal continues to be the worldly things, material things. We want material benefits out of God, material benefits via God. Okay, that is how the initial part of your journey is. Then what happens? Then you start getting, you get introduced to the Karam Yoga part of it, bring God into the mix. So if I were to put it in terms of the different categories that happens, initially you are focused on the material world goals only. I'll employ a different lens later on, but let's just talk about Sakam Karam Yoga now. So now you understand the deeper science of work, that okay, continue to work, discharging your material duties, but bring God into the mix as well. Don't be attached to the outcome, focus on the process. But then our mind is not completely there as well. So we are doing Karam Yoga, we are trying to do Karam Yoga, but it is Sakam. We still have our own desires embedded there in our endeavors, right? So which is called Sakam Karam Yoga. But at least we have started bringing God into the mix. So money is there as well, and temple is there, as God is there as well. Both are there. We are not able to differentiate. That secret stash is there for the world, but God is also there somewhere, right? So God is there in the whole stack of things which take your mind, and somewhere there it's still not, the exclusivity is not there, or he's not at the top of the stack as yet. And then gradually as it unfolds, then the material desires you move towards Nishkam Karam Yoga. Then you are truly attaching your mind to God and following the principle of Karam Yoga to the letter T, where it says that entirely whatever you do is for the pleasure of God. It's a pretty advanced stage. But if you think about it, simply practicing Karam Yoga is a stepping stone to this stage. And eventually this is how it's meant to be, where now the material aspect has evaporated and you are solely able to focus on God, that whatever you are doing, yat karoshi, yat nasi, yat juhoshi, tatasi, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna saying, whatever you do, whatever you, just do it as an offering to me. So we start reaching that stage, or reach that stage, which becomes Nishkam Karam Yoga. And then the Gyan Yoga, right? The knowledge starts dawning upon us as well, that Brahman form, the all-pervading aspect of God, is the truth. Now here, a question might come up, does it happen after this stage only? No, you could be practicing Gyan Yoga right from, the first stage as a Brahman formless only, even when you're practicing Karam Yoga. Okay, you're doing it, surrendering it to Ishvara. Ishvara is an abstract entity which is a all-pervading light, Brahman. So it's not necessarily that only after Nishkam, at this stage would come. That forking point could be right at the beginning itself. But as you progress on this journey as well, the peak of this journey is where you understand that, God has a form and you have to surrender it to it, right? And same thing happens on the yogic path as well, where eventually you have to surrender to a form of the God to draw his grace, because on your self efforts alone you can reach up to a certain stage. Beyond that you need God's grace to go further. And then finally the complete realization of God is in the conception, that Bhagwan form of God, where you're worshipping or realizing God in his Sagun Sakar form and gain an eligibility for his divine love, because there's nothing more than divine love that God can offer. If you attain moksha, nirvana, you are bereft of divine love. Okay, because divine love is a gift that God gives when you have rejected his bhukti and mukti both. Bhukti is all the material pleasures that we seek, that anyway have to be rejected. And mukti means it's a spiritual goal. However, that goal is not to serve God. That goal is to, again, a selfish goal, to take yourself away from the miseries of this world. So God says you have to give up that selfish spiritual desire as well, and then only I will give you the divine love. So the absolute or the complete realization of God is through realizing his Bhagavan form. So this is how the process or the journey unfolds. Now, will everybody reach up to Bhagavan stage? Not necessarily. Some may limit themselves at moksha itself, because that's how they wanted to attain God. Will everybody, reach moksha only? No, not necessarily. If somebody is trying to go in the yogic path, they may realize God as Paramatma as well, which is the Narayan form of God. And then only the devotees who worship God in his Sagun Sakar form will get the opportunity to serve him, because that is how they start off this journey as well. They say we are the eternal fragmental parts of God, and my constitutional position is to serve the whole. So that is how they build it, and that's how they end up realizing God as well. So that will be the complete realization of God as well. So with that said, what are some of the impediments that we need to guard against? These are some of the pitfalls on this path, right? Virodhi Vishya. Virodhi means the ones which actually work against our spiritual progress. The greed for money, Kalyug. Money is something that people are very attached to. They're truly not attached to money. They are actually attached to the comforts or the convenience that money can buy. And so this greed is an impediment. Food could be an impediment as well, right? Shadras that we enjoy, sour, bitter, sweet, and the solid and those kind of tastes. And this is a very powerful thing, very difficult to let go of. I've seen people who give up elite colleges just because they want to enjoy homemade food. So shadras is something which is very difficult to get rid. Even in old age, people find it very difficult to give up taste. Our senses, the taste buds, they start diminishing after the age of 50. I mean, it could start diminishing a little earlier as well. And it is said by the age of 60 or all, they have, 50 or 60% of those taste buds have diminished. But then we are smart enough to compensate it by putting in more spices. And, if you see people, they start eating a lot of chilies afterwards because they cannot give up taste. And this aspect also is something that could be derail your spiritual journey, because jaisa an vaisa man, and if you give yourself a lot of chili spices, then it will build the rajasic tendencies in you. If you give yourself a lot of tamasic food like intoxicants and those kind of things, then it will build in tamasic tendencies in you. And or you eat sattvic food, as we are forced to eat sattvic food when we are sick, and then our desires also diminish. Right? Tell a sick man who's on khichdi and everything that, okay, hey, there's a party and let's do that. He'll say, no, leave it. They'll not have a desire. Why? They are on a sattvic diet because body is not cooperating anyways. So yes, these are some of the impediments: taste, food, the greed. Then what else? Accolades, fame. We get attached to it. It's intoxicating, right? Somebody praises you, you're like, but we forget that when we take that flight, we have actually gained energy to go to the other extreme as well, because then we cannot take on criticism. So this is something that we got to be really careful about. In fact, I'll give you a tip that will always help. When somebody praises you and accolades and you accept it, then it diminishes or eats into your punyas. And if somebody criticizes you and you accept it, it eats into your pap and purifies you. So next day, if you keep that at the back of your mind, you'll run away from praise. Okay, I'm not going to let go of my punyas just because somebody's saying something about me. So, right, Kabir Das ji also had Nindak Neere Rakhe. So if you can simply tolerate criticism, there's no ways to fast track your progress. And if you can simply become neutral to these kind of things, which are anyway, then I think that is a good way to stay away from, maintain that level-headedness. What are the other things? Kusang, this is a big one. Kusang can come in so many forms. Talking too much. Let's check out on our friend and pick up the phone. Hey, kya hal chal, and then keep on gossiping around. Hey, what happened? Who happened? He'll say, what? That neighbor's daughter has started going to satsang. Give me some scoop, man. I thought you were going to tell me that she ran away with somebody. So those kind of tendencies to talk too much or to listen to scoops and gossips, that can eat away into our spiritual merit very quickly. So Maharaj Ji said that Sanama, Saral, Namr, and Madhur, simple, humble, and sweet. Follow that principle. It'll keep your life easy on the path of spirituality. And don't talk unless it is improving the quality of silence. That's a good one too. And God has given us one mouth and 2 ears, means you talk half as much you speak. No, you talk as much you listen, sorry. Gossiping, talking unnecessary mundane things. See, this is the most, sure short way of eroding our spiritual matter. General gossip. What's going on? Give me some scoop and stuff like that. Gossiping is bad, especially gossiping bad about somebody without knowing that. Right. So that is like eroding your spiritual. Right? There was a guy who was building a rope made up of grass. So he continued to make the rope of grass, and he spent about an hour making it. So he should have been at least 10 to 12 feet long. But when he checked out, it was the same. Why? Because there was a bachda, a calf, who was eating it away. He was doing it and it was eating it away. So that is what gossip does, or kusang does to us, right? Whatever spiritual merit we acquire, If we let's say we earn $50 and we are spending 500, net we are minus 450. So a spiritual sadhak or an aspirant is very, very cautious about not only accruing the spiritual merit, but also saving it or preserving it against kusang, because that can erode it just like that. In fact, years of satsang can be eroded away in a moment of kusang. That is how dangerous kusang is. What else? Associating with materialistic people do that. You will be like, you go and join a party, and they'll say, hey, did you invest in that house? Okay, share market is going up, and what are you doing? Why didn't you buy gold? And your mind will be all over the place, and that's where your mind it can take. So association matters a lot, and the kind of people you associated with, that's what you end up becoming. That's why I say surround yourself with uh, people, because you end up people who are better than you or who are uplifting, because you end up becoming some average of 5 people you generally hang around with. So those 5 people have to be very carefully chosen. Materialistic, if you do that, it will give you a lot of unrest in life. Then incorrect practices, rejecting scriptures, questioning scriptures, implying your intellect in God's leelas, and then sadhana, thinking we are doing sadhana, but thinking about worldly things, when we are sitting there, those kind of things are erroneous practices that need to be corrected as well. Yes, Pallaviji.
There's a question in chat, Nitinji. It's about the news. What about hearing to news longer time? Will it deplete spiritual merits for the one who is in devotional path? That is the question from Ankit ji.
It's a super kusang. Okay, it's a kusang because news, your world, we are already in material consciousness, and then we are taking in more material consciousness, right? What's the point? I mean, we don't have to clear IS, right? I mean, people who are watching TV and news as if they have to clear an IS or an entrance exam. What are you going to gain from knowing what is happening in Middle East or with the stock market and stuff like that, right? It is pure kusang. In fact, Maharaj ji gave a very simple thumb rule. Very simple. Whether it is kusang or not, if you have too much doubts or ambiguity around it, simply apply one yardstick. Is it taking your mind to God? If answer is yes, it is satsang. Is it taking your mind to world? If the answer is yes, it is kusang. Anything that takes your mind to world is kusang. Anything that takes your mind to God is satsang. Very simple definition. Okay. So how will news help you? Whatever you need to know about the world, for your let's say for the sake of your job or so, that you can get with the news feed, or with the very targeted stuff, you can curated stuff that you can subscribe to. Generally for entertainment, if you are subscribing, it's kusang and nothing else, right? Especially people, once they retire, that becomes their favorite pastime and a hobby. Keep on watching news, keep on cursing politicians, and participating in the debates and all that stuff. It's a waste of time completely. Now, the good qualities, the enthusiasm, patience, determination, these are all good qualities. People, if you do the chanting, it's a great thing. Kirtan, the way you absorb your mind in Kirtan, now you're taking your mind to the world, godly, arena. Because when you chant God's name with a belief that God actually resides in it, it can have a transformative effect on me. There cannot be anything more auspicious than that, right? Or contemplation on that. Or Kirtan is a good way where you are engaging your indriyas as well, right? You are listening, you are reciting, and then you are trying to visualize and meditate upon God's form. So Kirtan is high, it's a yuga dharma in Kali Yuga. And satsang is important. Like anybody, even Swamiji says in his 40 years of practice, people who have been doing satsangs as a routine, they have progressed faster than others. If you think, no, without satsang, I'm going to, I can do it, the journey will be very, very challenging and slow, because Maya is very powerful. You will not even realize, when you have slipped away from where you had. So satsang continuity, maintaining that intensity is very, very, very important on this path. And of course, chanting, kirtan, contemplation, and then a devotee always carries a lot of enthusiasm. They're not pessimistic about, oh my God, what's going to happen? I don't know where my life is. They carry a lot of enthusiasm. They are patient. They don't say, I've been practicing it for 10 years and I have not seen Krishna come in my dream, or I don't get any spiritual. So they are patiently waiting for that as well. And they are resolved. They have dhriti, or a firm determination that, okay, this is my goal and I'll continue to persist with it until I perfect my goal, or until I can start drawing more of God's grace. So all these three things are needed. Otherwise, what will happen is you may take 2 steps forward, 4 backwards, and then you wane in enthusiasm, and then you plateau in your spiritual journey, and all that thing can continue to happen. So the speed at which we want to progress is entirely our prerogative. And if we do all these practices, the good practices, and more importantly, avoid the bad practices, then we will not only stay on course, but can really proceed at a good pace with God and Guru's blessings. With that, I'll take a quick pause, maybe a question, maybe one, because we are already at 9:35, 31. I wanted to give about 25 to 30 minutes to Cash. Yes, Keshavji, real quick, you wanted to say something?
Yes, Keshavji, please go ahead. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. I was waiting for. Anyway, yeah, you raised a very good question, like not a question, whatever. The thing is like people looking for darshan of Krishna, doing meditation for years and years. I have a different receiving. And what is that? He says, Bhaktya ma bijan. Anyway, he says that he comes in the form of knowledge also, not only form, shape. And the knowledge, whenever I come here in your class and other classes too, I share the knowledge, whatever I get. And then next day it comes more deeper, more deeper, more deeper. And deeper means more subtle, and more subtle. And yesterday it was the extreme. Krishna Bhagavan ko kehte Tribhanga. Tribhanga. So yesterday, first time I got it. Tribhanga. He is one. He is one, but in 3 forms. Like you mentioned last couple of days or yesterday, Krishna, Vishnu Bhagavan, and one more. The other thing is like Atma, Paramatma, and Purushottam Krishna. Radhe Radhe. That's it.
Thank you, Keshavji. We'll build on that. The Tribhanga, why he's called Tribhanga. I think it's a good topic that you brought up. But later, yes, Pallaviji, real quick, because I think, maybe one real quick, and then we'll hand it over to Cash.
It's a quick question from Aparna ji. She has confusion about the question is about how do you define satsang? Is it chanting, doing sadhana with others, or who are similar minded, or can it be solo?
Not similar minded, because if our mind is messed up, then you will find more people who are messed up, right? So that may not be
Yes.
Sat. Sat means anything that takes your mind to truth. Truth is God. Anything that takes your mind to God or godly vishayas, right? It could be kirtan, it could be contemplation upon a lecture, it could be reading a book, right, which is a scriptural book, or talking about it, discussing it, or these sessions for that matter. That is satsang, which takes your mind to the truth. Sat means truth, eternal. That is satsang. Not, I mean, like-minded, we can talk about worldly things. That is not a satsang. But let's have it's a little more nuanced discussion. Let me hand it over to Cash for the spiritual cash up segment, and Girishi will take your question after that. Let's move on. By the way, you can get ready for a picture as well, because we have to take some shots immediately after this session. Today is our picture day.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, Cash. It's all yours.
Yes, Cash.
Thank you, and Radhe Radhe, everybody. Thanks for this weekly opportunity to bring you some of these teachings. And great segue, because we're talking about taking our mind to God. And today we're doing a deep dive into the workings of the mind. So there was once a young boy who walked past a sculptor's studio, and he saw him chipping away at this marble block, a huge marble block. And a few days later, he happened to walk by again. And by this time, that marble block had turned into a beautiful angel. So the boy asked him, "How did you know that there was an angel inside of that block?" And the sculptor told him, "There's an angel inside each one of us. And all we have to do is chisel away the pieces that are covering it." So this brings us to today's topic, which is chiseling with Chintan. And this is going to be part of the chapter, The Soul, Material World and Detachment, episode 2. This is not directly from the chapter. It's kind of a segue, and we'll look more at it. So where we stopped last time was on making a firm decision. Our gurus have told us there's 2 paths that are available to us. All we're after is real happiness, and we keep seeking it along this path, materialistic path, which we have been doing for since time immemorial. And our gurus are telling us happiness that you want doesn't lie there. So go towards this spiritual path instead. And then we said we need to make a decision that the soul will never find lasting happiness down this path, right? And that is going to be our area of focus today. So we're taking a little bit of a segue to see how can we make that decision and what happens after that. So this decision, is it going to be in a jiffy or is it a journey? Is it like I just decide I'm going to eat dinner right now, I've eaten dinner, that's it, done? Or is it a longer process? What does this decision really mean? So when we say we need to make a firm decision to stop seeking happiness here in this world, it's not a one and done thing, right? It's not like the flick of a switch, because this process of seeking happiness is not a one and done thing. We seek happiness, then we lose it, it diminishes or goes away. And so we're back at that position of, I want to be happy again. So it's definitely in this material world, it's not a one and done thing. So that brings me to the chariot metaphor, the Rath Kalpana from Kathopanishad. And we'll focus on just these two entities today. The intellect, which is the charioteer who's trying to drive the chariot, steer it, and the mind, which is in the form of the reins, right? That control where we're going. So this charioteer, he cannot just give one command and be done with it, because it's trying to get to some destination and it's going to be a journey. So he's got to keep moving and shifting the reins and controlling them until they've actually reached the destination. So it's definitely not a one-time thing. So that is similar to how the governing function of the mind, which is the intellect, it's going to have to continuously work to subdue the mind, to make it steer clear of that materialistic path and constantly bring it back to the spiritual path. And we have to keep doing this until the mind somewhat kind of starts to come under control. So this is what it's sort of going to look like, right? The intellect, who's this charioteer, is going to be taking the reins of the mind, trying to move it away again and again and again from the materialistic path, and trying to direct it to spiritual things. And of course, we're not at the stage where this decision has been firmly established in our intellect yet, because the next time we get into a spot where we're looking for that next happy thing, we might just be tempted to go the preyas route instead of the shreyas route. So again, the intellect needs to enforce some of those rules, spiritual rules on the mind, right? So it follows that this is not a one and done thing either. This is going to take work to reinforce this on the intellect. And that's where the divine knowledge comes in. We have to keep feeding the divine knowledge more and more and more to the intellect so that this cycle can continue. Our intellect can start becoming firmer and firmer in that decision. This is where I really want to go. And then it can steer the mind, and we keep continuing this higher cycle until we start to train our mind. So this is the part where we'll dissect today, where we say the intellect will have to continually subdue the mind. How does that happen? So let's look at an analogy, right? Let's say there's this preteen boy who really loves to play video games. And let's say this is his mom, and she wants him to do some chores around the house. So let's say that includes feeding the dog, and then she wants him to fold his laundry, and then she wants him to empty the dishwasher, right? So she'll give him this instruction, and then ideally what that boy should do is feed the dog and fold the laundry and then do the dishwasher, ideally. But realistically, I mean, we're talking about a preteen boy. So that's not how real life is going to work with this boy, right? So what's actually going to happen is this mom will give him the instruction, then he'll say, I'll do it later. And then she'll say, no, I need you to do it now. And then he'll say, let me just finish this game. And then she'll say, no, and I mean now. And by the way, I should tell you, any resemblance to any characters, living or dead, is purely coincidental. So I wouldn't know anything about this. Anyway, so she convinces him finally to get away from those video games, right? So then he'll go feed the dog, which takes about 2 minutes. Her back is turned by then. Guess what? He's back at the video games. So she has to give him another instruction. Hey, I told you, go fold your laundry as well. So then he'll have to be pulled away from the video games. He'll go do that. And in the 10 minutes that he's taking to do that part, she's doing something else. He's back at it again. And so now she has to give him another instruction. What part of this don't you understand? Go finish your chores. And so he'll have to be drawn back to the dishwasher. And of course, once he's done that, he's going to go back to the video games. So here, the thick blue arrow, let's say, is the strong attachment, right? And the thin blue arrows is the propensity that keeps pulling you back, that strong, to the object of strong attachment. And then this red arrow can be the command that you're getting from a higher level. And the dotted red arrows are the ideal path to your desired outcome. And what happens here is this child is so strongly attached to the video games that he's going to keep going back to them until he's properly trained that these chores are in fact, giving you life skills and they're good for your growth and development. So you should stick with them. So if we draw parallels from this analogy, we have our mind that's strongly attached. You know where this is going. This is strongly attached to the material world. And then we have the intellect who's trying to give it some instructions. Let's say, you're trying to do your sadhana and the intellect tells the mind, let's do some name chanting, followed by meditation on the form of God, and then meditation on the leelas of God. And so ideally, we want our mind to do 1, 2, and 3. And, that's a good meditation sadhana, right? That's not what's going to happen with most of us. Because a mind is strongly attached, first of all, it needs some strong motivation, get off your materialistic things and make time for sadhana, just sit here and meditate. So it finally, okay, fine, it's come away from the material world. It'll do namasmaran for maybe a minute or 2, and then it's back to thinking about, I'm so hungry. And then the intellect will tell him, no, you have to now meditate on the form of Krishna. So reluctantly it goes back, then it's thinking, okay, Krishna is wearing this yellow pitambar. Okay, I might wear my yellow shirt to work tomorrow, and it's back at the material level. So then you got to pull it back and say, no, you have to think of some leelas of Krishna. And then you say, oh, these plants look so beautiful. By the way, I have to water my plants. So then it's back. So then the mind is kind of like the stubborn child, right? That keeps going back to the material world. And the intellect has to keep pulling it back, like the charioteer who's keeping on controlling the reins, to train it and focus, to teach it that focusing on the divine is what will bring that spiritual growth and happiness. So our gurus tell us that the mind is naturally gravitating towards the world because both are made of material elements. And we are conditioned, we're so deeply entrenched in it since countless lifetimes that it's very hard naturally to get away from it. So then they tell us we have to use the intellect to keep bringing the mind back to God by putting in that focused effort. It's going to take effort. It won't come easy. And by persisting in that training, and they keep telling us practice, practice, practice. There's no substitute for that. So let's dive even deeper into how to actually do this part, right? How do you keep working on your mind? So I'll go to Swamiji's book, The Power of Thoughts, where he has, he's outlined this 3-step thought system to handle those chaotic and undesirable thoughts, because this whole thing is very easier said than done. So in those 3 steps, the first step, he says, when you get a thought that you don't want, you want it to go away, he says, use dilution, which means create distance between yourself and that thought by cutting it away. So when we want that unwanted thought to go away, we cut it as soon as it arises. And this creates the distance between the I and the my thought by us reminding ourselves, I'm not my mind. So I don't need to identify with the thoughts that the mind is creating. So as soon as we get that negative thought, we can just simply cut it away and create that distance. The second step is substitution. So as soon as you've cut away that negative thought, they tell us replace it with a better thought, replace it with a more desirable thought. So a good way to do this is have a list of desirable thoughts that you want to replace any unwanted thought with. It's nice to have that list and go to it immediately. So let's say you have this thought of, I cannot stop my negative or unwanted thoughts. So this is not a good thought, because like we just said, we all need to be thinking positively and we need to have a determination. So you don't want to go down this negative path. So you cut it as soon as it arises, right? And then once you cut it, you have a more positive thought at the ready, which you bring in immediately. And instead, you can say, I choose thoughts of gratitude, positivity, and devotion, because Swamiji says, it is your choice what kind of thoughts you want to think. In the beginning, it may be hard, but the more we practice, you can definitely decide what sort of thoughts you want in your mind. So that was step 2. And then as part of step 3, it's sublimation, which is revising that good thought to build an alternate positive thought system. And what do we mean by that? It means neuroplasticity. Okay, Krishna didn't say this word, but he said something similar, and we'll look at what that is. So in Bhagavad Gita 2.62, he says, while contemplating on the objects of the senses, one develops attachment to them. So really, in a paraphrased way, he's revealing the relationship between attachment and repeatedly thinking about something. So which is the root cause of anger, desire, greed, everything. It's the attachment, and which is caused by the repeated contemplation, right? So Swamiji explains, we have these neurons in the brain. We have the neurons, axon, and these are the synapses that connect with other neurons to create that message relay system. So let's say in our mind, we already have some neural pathways, which are set thought patterns, right? Because we're conditioned, we already come with some set thought patterns. And let's say they're currently connected to a negative thought that we're trying to get rid of. And disclaimer, this is not biologically accurate, so don't go draw this in an exam. Let's say you want to replace that negative thought with a more positive thought. So going by this theory, when we repeatedly contemplate that positive thought, then slowly, we're going to create those neural pathways that make it more natural for that positive thought to come to our mind. And it's going to get less hard as we go along to think in that way. So neurons that fire together, they wire together. And this is neuroplasticity, which is the brain has the ability to change, reorganize, and grow neural networks. When we repeat those thoughts, it increases synaptic connectivity and grows new neural pathways. So this definitely works for the negative thoughts. When you keep thinking negatively, it just keeps reinforcing itself. And we're just saying, flip the script. And instead of repeatedly thinking negative thoughts, start thinking positive thoughts and good thoughts, devotional thoughts repeatedly. And that's where your attachment will slowly get diverted. So I thought, let's take some inspiration from the Shawshank Redemption. Has anyone seen this? Okay. So this is a movie. It's an award-winning, Oscar award-winning movie from 1994, I think. And the story is about Andy Dufresne, he's an innocent man who's wrongly convicted and imprisoned for life. And then what happens is, at some point, he gets his hands on a small rock chisel, and he hides that in his prison cell Bible. He has a copy of the Bible, and he hides the little tool in that because he doesn't want to be caught with it. And then what he does is, because he's unfairly imprisoned, right? He wants to escape from jail. So he starts digging a tunnel from his prison cell wall using that little rock chisel. And so, I mean, it's a tiny little thing, right? And the prison walls are so thick. So he's digging merely 1/64 of an inch every night, but he sticks with it. He's determined. And every night, this is what he does. And it takes him almost 20 years in the movie, but he finally escapes through his tunnel and he gets his freedom, right? So this is why we're saying chiseling with Chintan. We can take inspiration from this story, but this was not based on a true story. We are in real life. We're not in a movie. So first of all, let's get rid of this movie reel. And then let's talk about how we can effectively use this chiseling tool called Chintan, right? So like this character, we're also imprisoned in Maya, trapped here since eternity. And he had just one life sentence. It's like we have multiple, countless life sentences. Fortunately, our gurus have now given us this divine knowledge of this potent tool called Chintan, or repeated contemplation. His tool was in the Bible, ours is in the Bhagavad Gita. That's the only difference. We also want to escape Maya, right? Because we can never find real happiness here. So now we have to start chiseling with that Chintan, which means our intellect is repeatedly telling the mind by chiseling it. So thought by repeated thought, we have to persevere in digging new mental pathways for a desired thought system. And it may take us days or months or years or lifetimes, we don't know. But our gurus have told us, as long as you keep up with your self-effort, that spiritual success is guaranteed. They say you can put your 100% effort in the material pursuits, but you're not guaranteed of good results there. But if you do your 100% on your spiritual path, there's no doubt you will attain God at some point. So that brings us to how to really apply this knowledge to make it power. We have to use our tool of Chintan to dig a tunnel from Jnana to Manna. Jnana is understanding. We understand this. It is part of our knowledge, but we haven't realized it. So Manna is to get to that point of making it realized knowledge. So for that, we have to firm up our intellect. We do that by constantly feeding it the divine knowledge. And we have to affirm up the mind with that repeated contemplation. And our gurus tell us that of all the tools that are in our armory for life transformation, contemplation is one of the most powerful, because it is the tool that bridges that gap between theoretical knowledge and realizing it practically. So I will leave you with this one thought. If we want to get strongly attached to this chit chore, we have to work on our chit chore, which is the repeated contemplation, so that thought by thought by thought by thought by thought by thought by thought, we can fix our mind on God. Okay, so that brings me to the end of this segment. As always, I appreciate your patience and attention. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Fantastic presentation, Cash, like always. I love that analogy of Shashank Redemption. I've seen that movie long back, but good how you were able to map it to what we need to do and the chore that we need to do. That was pretty interesting as well. So thank you again for a fascinating, engaging, captivating presentation like you always do. And I'm sure all of us got a lot of takeaways from it. Now, I'm in a dilemma. Should we take the questions first or should we take the pick first? Because we have a good attendance right now. If you all can turn on your videos, let's take a few pictures of Bhagavad Gita family that we have, Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita family, and then we can come back to the questions and how you felt about the presentation and what you want to share about it. I'm sure there are going to be a lot of accolades flowing in. And it's, the one of the highlights of taking these pictures is I get to see Revaji. She is so sweet. She turns on her video every time we do a picture. And thank you, Revaji. Always a pleasure. You may want to show your face a little bit more. We're seeing only your hands right now. But it's so sweet of you every time you come on camera. Thank you for that. And Laddu chose this occasion to come today after a while. So good to see you, Seema. Okay, let's take a few snapshots. If somebody can do that, I think somebody will do the honors today. I can see a lot of faces for the first time. Rajat ji, Kamla Srinivas ji,
Rahul ji, can you also take a couple of snapshots? I'll also take.
Ji. I see Dane Navarro. And Jaya ji, Pratyusha is there, Tejasvi ji. It's good to see Shalini ji is there, Girish ji, good to see you. New faces I'm seeing. Yeah, I would encourage all of you to turn on for a few moments. That way we can take the picture and then continue. Let me know when you have taken a few pictures. I still see a lot of people who are still jittery coming on camera, which is fine. You can come for a minute. That'll be great. I see Sandhya's dad as well, Sanjay ji. Thank you for Uncle. Good to see you. Okay, let's take a few pics and then we can continue with our discussion. Rahul ji is taking that. Rahul. Ajit ji has turned on his camera as well. Vaishnavi, did we lose you just at the time of the picture? So in the picture, we'll see 2 raised hands. That'll make for a nice pic. Okay, if you have taken it, I think we can move.
I got a couple.
Okay, that's nice. Tanvay is
I
as well.
also got a couple.
Well, thank you everyone who could turn their video on. We do it once a month. I mean, we forgot it. We are trying to revive it. It's always good to take some pictures and putting faces to names. So thank you, all of you who could do that. Now let's get back to the presentation. Yes, Prakash ji, then we'll get to Samiran as well.
Prakash ji,
Yeah,
Radhe
yeah,
Radhe.
yeah.
Yes.
Radhe Radhe.
Yes,
Another
sir.
eye-opener presentation from Kashji. I think the bar is being raised every class and you are beating your own records. Today, I think both the analogies, very perfect analogies, persistent propensity and then the Shashank redemption one. I mean, it's a very little details, right? Attention to these details and stitching them together as a story, the way that is very beautifully presented. Thank you so much. In spite of convincing, giving us all these tools, practical tools, but still our intellect is still not getting convinced and then not able to go into that path. So hopefully this satsang and then continuous chanting and chintan, the chisel will help us to kind of get there somewhere, sometime. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prakash ji.
Thank you, Prakash ji.
Yeah. Samiran ji, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, very nice catchphrase. Loved it. I have a question, Nitinji, that uh, when we are thinking something or doing a chintan, when we are conscious, like in a daytime or something like that, it's very easy to divert our mind. Okay, I'm thinking something evil or something kusang thoughts, but now I have to come back to satsang or God realized thoughts. But when like 2-3 years ago, there was a boom about subconscious mind and subconscious thought. All the books were written. But when we are in a subconscious state, like the sleep state or before sleep, sometimes what happens that in that subconscious thought or sleep, half asleep, people get dreams or bad dreams, or people get thinking that they are like accident is happening or they are falling down. Is there any way that we can also have a hold on those kind of thoughts during that state when we are
You
not
don't have, see,
conscious?
dream state, we are not like, it's your mind at play. Your senses are not, your subtle body is at play at that point, right? Our mind holds our subtle senses, and dream is nothing but a manifestation of what you have thought generally, right? It's just replaying your mind. It's not coming out of thin air. So if you have seen a bird flying and then you have seen something, your brain may cook up a story and you may see yourself flying. So the only way to have good dreams is to have good chintan throughout the day, because your subconscious mind is only a reflection of what you have been thinking predominantly, right? So, but we don't need to read too much into the dream. Some people give a lot of importance to dream. Hey, we saw that dream and Subha ka dream and Raat ka dream and this dream and that dream. Swamiji has answered that question very clearly in his spiritual dialects. We should not accord a lot of importance to dreams. But in order to get good dreams, You need to improve your chintan and the quality of mind, because end of the day, it's going to reflect that only. Okay. That means somewhere there is some fear that is getting manifested in your dream, which you are harboring even when you are not sleeping, right? So that's typically how it goes.
Okay.
Hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Thank you, Samiranji. Radhe Radhe. Sandhya ji, please go ahead.
Yes, Sandhya.
Radhe Radhe, and for the presentation, of course, hats off to you, Kashti. I had a question actually, which was, so where does experience, so, learning and chiseling happens, of course, by contemplation, but also experience many times helps us in getting into the depth of those realization or converting that theoretical knowledge to practical knowledge. So, so at what kind of, like how much, when does one realize that I should do more of contemplation, and or at some point of time experience becomes necessary or important, or or I just want to know, where do you put experience in this discussion?
Go ahead, Cash. That's your question, not mine. Out of syllabus for me. You opened the can of worms, so you better answer that question.
So everything begins with a thought, right? Even experiences, when you go through something, like you're taking action on something and you go through an experience, but everything begins with a thought. So I think the point here is, if your actions and experiences are aligning with divine knowledge, then you have realized it, because you're not having to work hard to go make that decision. But where you're struggling to get aligned and decide according to divine knowledge, that's where I spend my time affirming and reaffirming so that I can make better decisions next time. And those better decisions will in turn result in better experiences, which takes me that much closer to realization.
You got your answers. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kashji.
Yes.
Yasinji, can I take a quick moment for
Yeah,
a couple of announcements?
Yeah, please, let's do that. And we have probably a minute each for quite a few hands I see. So let's make the
Yes.
announcements, and that way.
I'll just take a quick moment. First is that I have shared feedback tracker. Please share your attendance, comments, feedback, questions in the feedback tracker also. If you want to join any Seva team, please put that in feedback tracker. There are some announcement links that I have shared about Swamiji's upcoming events. Please take a look at it. And currently, Swamiji is in Phoenix. The life transformation program is going on. So I hope that we all will be able to take advantage of all the life transformation events that Swamiji is taking. All the details of registration has been shared in the link. Apart from that, this details for the registration of the West Coast retreat, which is going to start from May 25th to May 27th. And also one more quick announcement about Swamiji's new best-selling book that is being already released globally on May 27th. So it will be available in Amazon. Please take a look at the Amazon link. You can go ahead, and the pre-order is 30% discount. And last but not the least is about the grand book launch ceremony will take place in the headquarters JK Yog RKT Dallas. And there will be a the launch of event that is on May 31st. It is about Yuva. That is a very, it's a new event which is for students, especially. Swamiji is launching this grand event called Yuva. Program. It will be for students. So there's a lot of events. So please stay tuned and keep looking at all the chats, all the links that we post in the chat. That's it from my
Thank you,
side.
Pallaviji. Let's take a few
I
hands.
don't know, so very fast, yeah. Girishji, yeah, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. First of all, I would like to appreciate what Nitinji had put his presentation together really wonderful, especially the piece of progression. I think it really gives us a very good information in terms of even if we put a small effort towards the devotional services or enlightenment, I think over the period of time it's going to provide us great benefits, maybe in terms of the exponential curve like that. You may not see the benefits immediately, but later on down the line it will go to a huge extent. So thank you very much for that. And Kashi, one of the presentation you had in terms of we skimmed through it quickly, but it was really important topic where you had mentioned about how the thought is we can cultivate it towards diverting into the positive thoughts. If you could get the that's slide copy of that piece, please, that will be great. I'm not sure if it is possible, but I think May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it really aligns with what we are seeing outside the world as well. And in tune with that, I think the presentation was really awesome. And one thing would like to mention, kudos to both of you guys. If you are putting this much great presentation of even if it is small nuggets, but it's a big piece of wisdom encapsulated in a small piece. And at an early age, you're putting this together, so you guys have a very long way to go. If you can transform a lot of people, there were I think around 100 people on the call today. So if this goes well down the line, I think it's a great service to the community, transforming a lot of people. In fact, a lot of psychiatrists who are in professional can also get tips from you guys. So thank you very much. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Girishi, for your kind words. Yeah, it's we are fortunate to have this satsang on a daily basis, and really privileged to have been given this opportunity right on this platform. And I'm glad it is serving the purpose, and it will continue like that and keep your blessings flowing. It's only because people take out their time and 60 minutes of their lives, and that gives us motivation to put together the content. And it's very heartwarming and heartening to know that it is actually serving the intended purpose. And we hope to continue in the same vein with God and Guru's grace. It's all their knowledge. We are just the postmen. But yeah, even if it's able to bring in a little bit of change in somebody's life and helps them on the spiritual journey, the purpose of this session is served. So thank you again for your kind words. Yes, Rahul?
Please go ahead, Rahulji. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. I think awesome presentation, and the way you presented the analogies were mind-blowing to explain the concept. And finally, I would like to say, Radhe Radhe, Govind Radhe, chiseling with Krishna's chintan hi asli sadhana hai bata de. Radhe Radhe.
Very nice, Rahul. Thank you. Okay, quite a few hands, maybe a minute each. I know we are over time, but we'll probably cut down on our last segment and take the remaining hands real quick.
Yes, Ajit ji,
Mo-
please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Actually, thanks a lot to Cash for such a nice presentation. Last time I have given feedback regarding the mental thought power along with the body physical things, and she has incorporated the same thing. Now again, I'm adding in this presentation that the prisoner was only wanted to get rid of that prison, but here we have the Almighty God, Lord. उसके बारे में भी आपने last 2-3 days before you have narrated so many things that he is the very beautiful in all rasas, more than the sweet honey. His all kalas, all leelas are attracted to us. So like that, a prisoner has the some task, some motivation to meet her beloved, his beloved, or beloved daughter, to attend her marriage sort of thing. Then probably that activity would have been expedited like anything. And secondly, Chintan. is just like a monotonous job for us. But as you decide to go to Delhi and you are on foot, so no other activity is required except the set the direction and start walking, continuous walking. You will take years together, no doubt, but you will reach to destination by the same process of bhakti, devotion, kirtan. In kirtan, what we do? Naam jap. So that is the feedback that some motivation factor is there in spiritual journey as well. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Ajit ji. Right, direction needs to be correct. Then it's just a matter of time before you get to the destination. Okay, Tejas. And then two more
Please
hands,
go
1
ahead.
minute each probably.
Yeah, Tejas ji, please go ahead.
Okay, Radhe Radhe, and once again a nice presentation, Kashi. I like how you stitched the Shawshank Redemption movie and also the theme, like chiseling away with Chintan and bringing reference to the movie, and also the last tagline where you always manage to add humor and also something to take away. My question is more on what you presented earlier. So you mentioned that you can train your intellect so that you can facilitate your mind to have good thoughts, right? My question is, can we ever get into autopilot where we make having our mind to think good thoughts as second nature? Or is there always some room for negative thoughts to come?
Okay, I can take that real quick. Swamiji has answered that our mind is like a garden. So right now it can generate random thoughts. Why? Because the quality of mind is not yet there. So as it starts becoming purer and purer, then your propensity to generate negative or useless thoughts will wane away all by itself. So it's directly related to the purity of your mind. And mind management, the techniques when we talk about the meditation or exerting our intellect and stuff, as it keeps on getting purer, it becomes a fertile ground for only noble thoughts, no negative chintan whatsoever. It's just like garden. It will not grow weeds anymore. Okay, the quality of the soil has become like that. So it's all related to the purity of our mind and the quality of our mind. And that is essentially what spirituality is all about.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you. Great question. Yes, Shalini ji, and then Kumar ji.
Oh, sorry, I think yep, just a moment. Kumarji, thank you for waiting. I can just go ahead and Shalini ji, please go ahead.
Yes, Radhe Radhe. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank Prakashi again for another very, very, wonderful presentation. It's very, very inspiring. And I think my key takeaways were that, create dilution. If you have negative thoughts, substitute with your good thoughts. And I'm already making a bucket of those good thoughts, and sublimation, contemplate. And I think Nitinji, you said very well that if your thoughts are taking up to material, give up. If it is taking towards God, contemplate more on it. And I do have one question for you, Nitinji. I think I really liked when you said that don't talk when it is unless it is improving the
Quality of silence.
the quality of silence. So now I have a question here that if you see there is some conflict going on and you see something wrong is happening, should you interrupt or should you not at that time? I know it's going to make things bad, but
oh yeah, I mean it's contextual, of course. Yeah, if your voice is going to make a difference, sure. It's not that just because you have taken a resolve to stay quiet, then you don't speak when it could actually make a difference. In fact, it is said that more harm is caused by people who choose to stay quiet than people who are actually doing the harm, because more people are good, right? So yeah, I mean, if your voice makes a difference, sure, but that is more about just talking for the sake of talking, right? That is where Maharaji say, because when we speak words, right, there is the probability of us uttering stuff which can cause some kind of a conflict somewhere increases many folds because we don't have control. So yeah, we have to take a call around it. And if airing our opinion or voice can help resolve something or move the discussion in a good direction, sure, I would say, because your intent is good there, right? It's not just throwing your weight around just for the sake of it.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you. Radhe Radhe. Yes, Kumarji, last one. You have the final word. Jai Shri Ram, Jai Sri Ram, and Jai Hanuman.
Thank you for waiting, Kumarji.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Jai Shri Ram, Jai Hanuman to everyone. So, well, for Shalini ji, of course, I think Nitinji had a very beautiful answer. It all is contextual. For example, if it's a group of bandits in a bank trying to rob them, you don't want that to happen, but you cannot do much, right? Their silence is much better than taking any action or even voicing any words. So it all depends. But anyway, the reason why I had to raise my hand is because of the mention of Shawshank Redemption. And you folks probably know I'm a movie buff, see a lot of movies, mostly good movies. And this is the best #1 movie in my list. Anyone wants to see a movie, I'll say go see the Shawshank Redemption. It just, even just the uh, title gives me goosebumps. And the way Cash G brought it over to chiseling, I was thinking, okay, yeah, that chiseling, yes, it was being done. And how beautifully she brought it to the chiseling of the mind, the thoughts in the mind to get us to closer to God. Simply fabulous. So the president is called the commander-in-chief. Cash G is called the presenter-in-chief. Thank you. Jai Shri Ram.
Can't have asked for a better compliment. So very nicely put, Kumarji, presenter in chief, PIC. Thank you. So with that, I think we should, okay, Priyaji, okay, we have got an extended session after long. All right, Priyaji, last one. And then I think we'll wrap up our discussion for the day. I know it's late and Pallavi is in East Coast. So we got to be respectful of her time as well. Go ahead, Priyaji, real quick.
All right. Thank you so much. I'll make it very short. One of the questions I have, and I don't know how true this is, it is said that every thought that comes to your mind is recorded as an Akashic record. How true is that? And I often find myself, kind of contemplating and trying to remove negative thoughts and diverting them to something more positive. But is it true that something gets recorded as in the in the universe somewhere?
Okay, so I think Swamiji has answered that question again in Power of Thought. So yes, right now, like Tejas had asked, our mind is not a fertile ground for generating only noble, productive, or wholesome thoughts, right? It's a mix. It can grow weeds, it can throw out negative thoughts, unwholesome thoughts, inauspicious thoughts, and it's a mess right now. So many weeds, right? Now the rule that he has given is this: that thought comes, but don't give it too much importance. If you choose to energize it, then it starts becoming part of your sanskar. Energize means you are choosing to surf it. It's like a wave coming to your feet. You're not obliged to surf it. You understand, until your mind is pure, until you have worked on it, it will be like that. Your mind will generate random, unwholesome, those kind of thoughts. But then you have a choice. You can take a step back, employ witness consciousness, and say, I'm not going to surf it. I don't choose to write this thought. I will not energize it. Only when you energize it, then you are making a choice to surf that, and it could become a sanskar at that point. Until then, just reject. So many things will come in your head. Keep on rejecting those unless they are adding value. And that practice we need to continue to hone. That is how it's meant to. When you energize it, yes, it is leaving an impression. It is like that ink pad, right? Rubber stamp you put. The more you energize, the deeper imprint it will be. But if you just reject it, that's fine. I mean, that will happen as a part of this journey. It will not be perfected in overnight. So don't energize it. And that is a practice we need to deepen over time.
Okay. Thank you, Nitinji, and thank you.
So, Kashyapji, tomorrow I need to give Pallaviji break now because she's in Eastern. So tomorrow we'll take your hand first. Right now, I think we'll have to wrap up. It's too late for her. So got to be respectful for her time. But we'll continue on this fascinating discussion. Tomorrow, again, we have our quiz day. So thank you again to everyone. And we'll be posting the pictures for everyone as well. So thank you. And thanks, Cash, for a wonderful session, presentation again. Radhe Radhe, good night, good day from my side. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Nitinji. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe.
Stay blessed, everyone. Thank you, Kashji. Thank you, all of you.